Hey guys, welcome back to sAMetalthing. Starting a new project today. We're going to be building a little small gate for the front of a acquaintance, a friend, I guess, someone I know through work. She's the finish girl for one of the interior designers that I work for. She has a little patio area out in front of her house, and she wants to gate it off because she has a dog that she likes to let out in the front there. Here's a little video of that. All right, this is where the gate's gonna go. It's just a little short gate here. I'm gonna start by, I'm gonna cut this hedge back a little bit. It's gonna land in the middle of the post. I'm gonna come up here. I'm gonna cut the material. I have some 1.5 by 1/2 flat bar. It's gonna mount directly to that. So I'm gonna get going on that. Well, that was a complete waste of time. For some reason, I was out here, I don't know, 6 months ago, probably. For some reason, I had it in my mind that this was red brick. So it was crucial that I figured out where the brick was because I didn't want the anchor to land in a grout line, or partially on a grout line and partially not. So since it's stuccoed, it makes me believe that it's actually cinder block, which gives me a lot more leeway and room. So, complete waste of time. But I marked the height, so we're good. So, back to the shop and start building. All right, so the plan is just a sleek little gate that you can kind of see through. She doesn't want to have anything too obtrusive. So this is basically what I'm building, my sweet little drawing here. It's 3 foot high, 6 foot wide. I'm building it out of 1.5 by 1/2 tubing. And then this is the solid. This part's going to be the jam part. This is the part that's going to be screwed into the, there's a cinder block wall out there with the stucco on it, as you saw in the video. And then this is going to be a filler piece. This is 2 by 2 opening, 3/16 wire. So yeah, should be pretty easy. A little bit easy. But there's some tricks that I do to make it fit right. That I don't know if, I'm sure other people do it, but I've never seen anyone else do it the way I do it. It's a little more work, but the end product works out a lot better. So let's get going. Okay, I have the material cut, cleaned up. I went and bought some bolts. These are 5/16 by 2 coarse thread. These are the anchors I was telling you about. They're double expansion. The way they work is one side's threaded, the other side is not. The bolt goes in, you thread it in, and as it tightens up, it pulls these together, and it's a wedge, so it expands and gets tight in the hole. So that's the anchor I was telling you about. I drilled these holes slightly over 5/16. They're countersunk. They sit flush, so when the gate is in what would be the closed position, they don't hit, nice and clean and sanitary. They're just tacked on for now. When you're doing that, don't forget, you need a left and a right. That's what I have, a left and a right. Now, for the center jam part, this is the box that will hold the doorknob. I have a piece of 3/16 that I'm going to tack in there and hold that gap. I could probably go a little bit narrower, but that's a pretty good size for these gates. If I went 1/8 inch, it might be too tight. Another thing I have to do is, since one side's going to swing and open easily, I need to put a pin that will hold this secondary gate in place while this one opens and swings, for everyday use. I went and bought a piece of 5/16 cold roll steel from Home Depot. It just slides in there. I was hoping 3/8 would fit, but it's too tight. This is 065 wall. 3/8 will not go in there. So I'm going to have to, because that piece of wire mesh over there is going to land here. I don't have a lot of room to play. So I have this tucked right up against this edge. In order to keep it in that place, I have another piece of steel. It's a piece of cold roll that I had laying around. I think it's half by 5/16. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna slide it in here. I'm gonna plug weld, I'm gonna drill some holes in here. I'm gonna get it tight against there and I'm gonna plug weld that in there so that keeps this thing sliding in and out straight and level. Then I'll have to come back. I'm going to drill a 5/16 hole here or somewhere around here, come down about 1 inch or so, drill another 5/16 hole, cut that notch. Then I'll come around here and have it so you when you lift it up and you'll be able to turn it and it'll stay up so you can not scrape the ground. That's hard to envision, but I'll do it and you'll see it. So that's the next thing. My only concern is there's an 1.5 inch gap between the bottom of the gate and the concrete. That's a pretty big length of material and it might bend. I'm trying to make it sexy and clean as possible. If they're not moose breaths and they take care of their shit and they seem like that kind of people, it shouldn't be a problem. If it becomes a problem, I'll have to do something later on that's a little more industrial that you can see. I am going to, or I'm planning on, when I cut this material and fit it, I was planning on trimming it out. So put a piece of trim, basically like this, on either side of the wire. That's gonna be probably an issue down there. I thought it would look cleaner. Plus, I don't wanna weld every freaking wire on there. I mean, I can if I TIG weld it and take my time, it'll be good. But I was hoping to sandwich that wire and have a piece of square stock on either side. That way I only have to weld like every third or fourth one of those. It would be plenty strong and it would look better, it'd be cleaner. I don't know, we'll see. Like I said, my only concern is it's gonna get kind of thick for that mechanism down here to do what I want it to do. So I'm not really gonna have a lot of room for this thing to slide and have a hole. So I have to have this, I don't have to have this. So I'm gonna try to get that as tight and nice as I can so I can do that. We'll just have to see. So let's do it. Okay, 5/16. 5/16. Take this, put this on here, make a mark, 5/16. That's where that's gonna go. Drill some holes. Got a drill bit, somewhere around 1/4 inch. Doesn't really matter, not that important. Take a file, clean up the inside. Take the rod, lay it in the tube. Take the steel, lay it in the tube. Now, it's tight in there, but not a lot of pressure. Tack it. Grind it. Tack it some more. Make it pretty. Nicely sliding. That's how it's done. On to the next thing. All right, I finished the slot and the shaft for the locking part of the stationary gate. So it's going to stay closed all the time. They'll use one side, the other side gets a pin in it. What I did was I got a piece of this 5/16 shaft, drilled and tapped 5/16, or drilled and tapped 1024 threaded hole in there. Took a piece, I drilled the center, put a piece of 1024 all thread in there. I drilled this out slightly over 5/16, like the next size up, 32nd. Put a drill hole there, and I dropped this down a little bit so it could catch there. So this was centered here. This dropped down a little bit so I can get that little catch. This slides in here. This screws on here. One-handed. So it slides up and down, comes around, locks in there. So that's how it's going to look. The only thing I don't like is it's quite a bit of slop here. I really have no choice. There's nothing I can put in here to tighten this gap up. And I guess I could turn a piece, but trying to turn a piece this long is just a ridiculous amount of work. If I make this hole deeper, it will take away some of that slop. A shallow hole will allow it to move, and it'll move around quite a bit, but if I go deeper, like a couple inches, and the farther down it goes, but I only have this much, right? I can only go that far, and so I really can only go down an inch, but it should be all right. I like it a little tighter than that. That's what he said, but it is what it is. So the next thing is to tack those two pieces together, that piece of 3/16 in the middle, tack that box on there where the handle goes. I'll go out tomorrow, I'll mount the two outer pieces where the hinges are. They're 1.5 inches off the ground. I'll bring a piece of tubing that's 1.5 inches. I'll set that centerpiece on there. I'll bring some flat bar that's 6 feet long that I can clamp everything. So everything will be clamped, centered up, measured a bunch of ways, make sure everything's centered. Then I can cut the tops and the bottoms. I'll tack those in. Before I take it down, I cross brace it with some scrap flat bar, make sure everything stays and doesn't move. Then I bring it back here and I finish it up. The very last thing I do is cut that flat bar off. So the flat bar, I cut it at angles and crisscross it so it can't move. It usually goes really well. So I never have a problem. Nothing that I can't adjust out, but not much adjustment on this one. So it has to be, pretty close to dead nuts. So that's probably what I'll do tomorrow. I'll come back in the morning. I got a thing to do in the morning, and then tomorrow before noon I'll head up with my anchors and my bolts and do all that. So hopefully by tomorrow afternoon I'll have the frames back here ready to put this this wire mesh in. That's going to be a little tricky. There's some stuff to do with that. If I decide to put the trim around it, I'm starting to think I probably won't, just because it's going to be really tight on that slide piece. And also too, the way it lays, one piece of wire lays on top of the other piece of wire. So I would have to bend them and get them like centered, all of them centered up, and that's going to be a ton of time. So it's 6 of one, half dozen another. It is what it is. We'll figure it out as we go. So I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Okay, next day, got the jam part to the side that's going to be mounted to the wall. It's done, welded, ready to go. This is welded to this piece of tube, ready to go. One thing I forgot to mention yesterday is this tab that's on here. Obviously it's long on this particular one. Normally the tubing that I use is between 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches. So this isn't an issue as far as sticking out too far. What the issue is this is flat on that plane. So when this is closed, it doesn't line up. This will stick proud on this side. Can't have that, right? So what I typically do is I'll cut this off and I'll move it over here. This particular case, it needs to be done just for 2 reasons. One, to make this line up right. So I typically just cut along this line, I move it over and weld it back on. One thing you have to be worried about when you're doing that, you don't want to go too far because the doorknobs have a ring that goes around. So you don't want to encroach onto this hole here where the doorknob goes. So you have to be mindful of that. So I'm going to cut that off, move it over, tack it together, and then we'll get ready to head out. So I have to let it cool. If I was to grind it now, it would ruin this disc. So I'm gonna let it cool for a second. Okay, done. Sexy, grounded, smooth. Lines up with this. Everything's good to go. Just when you're building them, pay attention to which way the door is going to open. I've messed that up before, so I know to pay attention. This one here is going to, as you walk up to the house, the left gate is going to open in. That's going to be the primary one, which is weird to me. Typically the door on the right, but that's how the house is, which is weird to me too. So the house, the door opens up. The left door opens in toward the house. So we wanted to make the gate the same. Weird, but it is what it is. So I'm going to collect all my tools, get my welder, all the crap that I need, and head up the road. It's about a 30-minute drive up the road, so let's do that. All right, I'm gonna end this video here. If I do the whole process, it's gonna be way too long. So on the next video, I'll pick up at the job site, pre-fitting all this gate stuff. So if you like the video, subscribe, please. And check me out on Instagram at sAMetalthing. I'll see you on the next one.